First of all, Graham, can you tell the fans why you decided to stay with the club?
Well, I think that there's still unfinished business, and I think that when I went away on the weekend, obviously it's been a difficult couple of months because I was very flattered by the interest of Sydney, but when I sat back and thought about things, is that I signed a 3-year contract 2 years ago. We've proved over the last 2 years that we are a very good football side, but I just feel that I haven't got the maximum out of this playing group and of the youngsters. The youngsters can improve a lot more. The older players can improve more as leaders on the field, and the middle-aged players, mid-20-year-olds, I think there's still a lot of improvement in them. So, you know, it's a decision that was difficult to make, but one I feel very, very good about because, you know, one thing I think I am, and I think I show that also with my selections, players that do well for me, I'm very loyal to them. But also, you know, when I played, I played for 8 years at Sydney, Croatia, and I worked for 10 years at Football Australia within the organisation. I'm not one who likes to chop and change too much, and on the money side of it, it doesn't bother me that much. It was more about wanting to stay here at the Mariners and be loyal to the players who have been so good to me, the players that I signed for 3-year contracts, the staff that I signed for 3-year contracts, and also for the fantastic supporters that come and support us every week, to give them back something in appreciation.
Over the weekend, I believe you spoke with Guus Hiddink, your former Socceroos colleague and probably most of all your friend. What advice did Hiddink have for you?
Oh, look, I still stay in regular contact with Guus, and you know, he is my mentor. You know, if I ever have any real problems or if there's anything that I want advice on, I pick up the phone and we talk or we text. And you know, he wasn't the major influence in the decision at all, but he just spelled out some things to me that, you know, in his experiences of what he's had, and one of them was stability. One of them was the fact that we built a fantastic football team here, and it would have taken a lot longer to do that down in Sydney. And also with the ACL, to challenge yourself in the ACL is a wonderful competition to be in because it's international football. And he more or less said, forget money for now, money will come later, and get rid of the whole equation of the financial side of it. It's more about the football decisions. Once you sit down and look at the two teams on paper, what's left in Sydney and what is up here on the coast, and what I have to recruit, can I make the team better? And can the team perform better next year? And my decision, after he asked me that question, was yes, that I think the team has still 25% improvement in it. And that's, you know, he was great to hear it off someone of his calibre and to get that advice.
Although you only worked alongside Hiddink for a year, it's always sort of intrigued me about his man management and his football philosophy. What can you say about him in that respect, what you learnt from him?
If I could write something down, I could write a book about probably what I learned off Guus. But you know, I worked with him for a year, or not even probably a year. It was probably 8 or 9 months. In that, what I learned off him in 8 or 9 months, it would have taken me 10 years to learn on my own. He was such a fantastic, open person to give me, and he gave me a lot of responsibility. But man management wise, he taught me pretty much he taught me that everyone is different and you can't treat every individual the same. Within the dressing room, everyone has different personalities. You need to work out the personalities of the individual to get the best out of them, and it's about how you make people feel good, work on their self-esteem, mentally prepare them for games, tactically and physically getting players in top condition. So pretty much saying that, you know, training sessions should be harder than games. And on the tactical side, you know, giving the players 3 pitches. The 3 pitches are, one is obviously in the video analysis, One is with a tactical talk on a whiteboard, and then the third thing is going out and practicing it on the field, so every player understands their job. So, he was very, very thorough in his planning, his preparation, but he's just a wonderful man.
You shared a few big matches, Australia-Uruguay, Australia-Japan, Australia-Croatia especially spring to mind in that World Cup campaign. He was amazing at getting a team primed for the big occasion, and next week is arguably the Mariners' biggest occasion ever. What can you say about his ability to get a team ready for a big match that you can take into next week?
Yeah, his preparation of detail. All the fine points of everything. He covered every base, whether it was from travel through to the tactical side of the game to the recovery. It was all about preparation, and he was very, very thorough in that, and I've taken a lot of that on board. And he's keeping the players relaxed. The bigger the game, the player doesn't. The player knows how big the game is, so they don't need to be nervous. Keeping them very, very relaxed, making sure that the players were happy and healthy. And the performance is about the player. Match day, he used to say Monday to Friday is about the coach, Saturday is about the footballer, about the player, and Sunday is about the family. And we've tried to keep that here with what we do, to make sure the boys are physically and tactically ready for the game. But he was wonderful at getting, seeing the big moments in the game and seizing on the big moments. And if you look back to the Japan game, for example, when he brought Timmy Cahill on, he could tell the Japanese were getting tired, and we needed those fresh legs out there, and what type of potent player to put out there. He's very big on, you never win the game in the first half, you only can lose it. And it's very rare that you have a game where you're up 2 or 3-0 at half time, and then you win 5-0, and keeping X factors on the bench. It's players that can come off the bench that can change the game. So he taught me a hell of a lot, and it's 5 years on since I worked with him, 6 years on, but it's so good that I can just pick up the phone and have a chat to him whenever.
It's a little bit early to talk about specifics of the Nagoya match being 7 days out, but generally, what are your thoughts with a week to go?
Look, I think they're going to be a different team, much different team to the one we played here in the first round, because in the second round, sorry, because they're 10 games into their competition now. When we played them last time, they're only 2 games into their competition, and they look like their combination play and everything wasn't on song that night. So they will be a much tougher opponent. So we've got the reverse side this time, where we're out of competition, but thankfully we played only 10 days 2 weeks ago against Tianjin, and we performed exceptionally well. And the boys have been training the house down, and we're all ready to go.
Where would qualifying for the second round of the AFC Champions League rate in your time as a coach or a player?
Look, I had a lot of big games and a lot of big moments, and qualifying with Guus against Uruguay down in Sydney was massive. Qualifying for the Olympics when I was a coach of the Olympic team in 2008, and the games that we played at the Olympics, this is just another big game, but you've got to treat it like a normal game. For me, I think this is the biggest game in Mariners history. I know at the moment the supporters probably don't see the AFC Champions League as such a big thing at the moment, and a lot of Australians are not into it, but I think in years to come it'll be as big as the European Champions League, and we need to educate our supporters on the opposition more and how big the games are. So, to win this and to get into the last 16 in the whole of Asia is a massive, would be a massive result for, a small community town of the Central Coast, 400,000 people population, to put the Central Coast onto the football map in Asia would be massive.
Thank you, Arnie.
Thanks, Benny.